My own son left me at a nursing home on my birthday. A week later, I won the lottery, changed my number and my will. My name is Winnie Carter. I am 68 years old. I am an African American woman born and raised on the South Side of Chicago. I worked for 43 years as a licensed practical nurse in public hospitals and long-term care facilities. I am a calm, patient woman by nature. I believe in routine honesty and quiet sacrifice. I raised one child alone after my husband died from a construction accident when our son was 7. I never remarried. I believed motherhood was a lifelong duty and that love given freely would always return in time. I am speaking to you now not from anger but from clarity. This story begins on a cold morning in early March. My hands were stiff from arthritis and my knees hurt more than usual. I was still living in my small 2-bedroom apartment where I had lived for 26 years. I paid the rent on time every month with my pension and Social Security. I cooked my own meals. I cleaned slowly but thoroughly. I needed help sometimes but I was not helpless. My son Marcus was 42 years old then. He worked as a regional sales manager for a medical supply company. He was charming, confident and impatient. His wife Elaine was 39. She worked as a freelance event planner. She cared deeply about appearances and social standing. They had 2 children ages 12 and 9. I loved my grandchildren deeply. In the year before my birthday, Marcus began visiting less. When he did come, he talked about liability and safety and how worried he was about me falling. I listened and trusted him. I had been a nurse. I knew the difference between concern and convenience. I ignored the feeling in my chest because he was my son. On the morning of my birthday, Marcus arrived early. He brought no flowers, no cake. Elaine did not come. He helped me into his car with a carefulness that felt rehearsed. We drove for over an hour. When we stopped, I saw the sign for a nursing home on the outskirts of the city. The building was old but clean. I asked him why we were there. He said paperwork. He said assessment. He said temporary. Inside, the administrator spoke gently but avoided my eyes. Marcus signed documents while I sat in a wheelchair I did not need. When I asked when I was going home, Marcus said soon. Then he kissed my forehead and left. No hug. No goodbye. No birthday wish. That was the day my son left me in a nursing home on my birthday. The first night I cried quietly into a thin pillow. I shared a room with a woman named Lillian who was 74 and had been a school librarian. She held my hand and told me I would be all right. She had been there 3 years. Her daughter had promised to bring her home after surgery. She never did. The days passed slowly. The food was bland. The staff was overworked. Some were kind. Some were numb. I kept track of time by the light through the window and the medication cart sounds. No calls from Marcus. No visits. My birthday passed unnoticed except for Lillian, who shared her pudding cup with me. A week later, on a quiet afternoon, a social worker named Denise asked if I wanted help checking my mail. She had noticed unopened letters forwarded from my apartment. Among them was a lottery ticket notification. I had bought a ticket weeks earlier on a whim while buying groceries. I had forgotten about it. Denise helped me call the number. The voice on the line congratulated me. I had won $12 million after taxes. I sat in silence. My heart did not race. I did not scream. I simply closed my eyes. That night I did not sleep. Not from excitement but from understanding. Money did not change who people were. It revealed them. Within 3 days I contacted a lawyer named Harold Simmons. He was 61 and had worked in elder law for decades. He came to the nursing home and listened without interrupting. I told him everything. I told him I wanted privacy and control and dignity. With his help I claimed the winnings anonymously. I opened new accounts. I changed my phone number. I transferred my pension. I paid my apartment lease termination fee and donated the furniture. I arranged to leave the nursing home. I did not tell Marcus. I moved into a quiet assisted living community designed for independence and comfort. I had my own apartment and garden access and physical therapy. I hired a private nurse part-time named Rosa, who was 55 and had the warm eyes of someone who chose care as a calling. Weeks passed. Marcus finally called the nursing home. They told him I was no longer there. Panic replaced silence. He called my old number. It was disconnected. He went to my apartment. Empty. He filed a missing persons report. I watched the news quietly from my living room. I felt no triumph, only peace. 2 months later I invited Marcus and Elaine to lunch through my lawyer. The message said I was safe and wished to speak. They arrived dressed formally and nervous. When I walked in, Marcus froze. I was wearing a tailored blue dress. My hair was styled. I looked healthy. Elaine stared at my shoes. I spoke calmly. I told them I had won the lottery. I told them I had changed my number in my will. I told them the nursing home had taught me who visited out of love and who visited out of obligation. Marcus cried. He said he was overwhelmed. Elaine said they thought it was best. I listened. Then I told them my decision. I had established trusts for my grandchildren that no one could touch. I had donated to nurse training programs and senior advocacy groups. I had left Marcus $1 in my will to show intent. I had left Elaine nothing. I told them forgiveness was possible but entitlement was not. I told them I hoped they would grow from this. I stood and left. Today I spend my mornings in the garden and my afternoons volunteering by phone for seniors navigating care options. I speak to people who feel forgotten. I remind them that dignity is not given. It is claimed. My son sends letters now. I read them when I am ready. I have not changed my will again. Love does not mean erasing consequences. I am Winnie Carter. I am not abandoned. I am awake. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me, what would you have done if you were in my place?